All right, let's talk about something that sounds, well, pretty much impossible. What if I told you that you could build a full-blown, ready-for-the-App Store iOS app in just one day? Yeah, one single session. Let's get into it.
And that's the big question, right? It's the kind of thing that drove this whole experiment. It completely goes against everything we think we know about how long software takes to build. And trust me, the answer is, well, it's pretty wild.
So, we're going from zero to a full-fledged app. And the goal here was, honestly, kind of insane. You're starting with just a bunch of separate code files, totally disconnected, and the mission is to turn them into a real, valuable, working app. And the kicker? You've got to do it all in a single day. And when we say code files, I mean it. The starting point was literally just 13 Swift files sitting in a folder. That's it. And the end goal? A polished, intelligent task management app that's actually ready for the App Store. We're talking AI-powered, accessible, the whole deal. All built in just a handful of hours. No way, right?
Okay, so how do you pull this off? The secret isn't chaos, it's structure. You'd think building an app in one day would be this frantic, chaotic mess of coding, right? Just pounding away at the keyboard. But that's not it at all. The real key, the secret sauce, was having an incredibly detailed and structured plan. Speed through structure, not chaos. That's where the magic is.
Just to put this in perspective, think about how apps are normally built. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You've got your research phase, then concept development, product engineering, prototyping, you know the drill. Each one of these steps can take weeks, sometimes even months. It's a solid process, for sure, but man, is it slow.
Now compare that slow, traditional marathon to this. This was the actual plan for the app, which is called voice tasks. It's not just a plan, it's a hyper-focused, micromanaged timeline. Look at this, 30 minutes for project integration. Done. 45 minutes for adding features. Bam! A full hour dedicated to Apple Intelligence. Every single minute was accounted for with a specific purpose. This plan wasn't just a guide, it was a turbocharger for the whole project.
All right, let's geek out for a second and talk about the brains of this operation, the on-device AI. This is the really cool part. At the very heart of this app is Apple Intelligence. And the key thing to know is that it all runs right there on your device to figure out what you're saying.
This right here is a perfect example of how it works. You say something totally normal, like, urgent meeting with client tomorrow. The AI doesn't just hear the words, it gets the meaning. It pulls out the important bits. The title is meeting, the priority is high because you said urgent, and the due date is tomorrow. And remember, this is all happening on device. None of this is being sent to some server in the cloud. It's private, it's fast, and it's secure. That's how a simple voice note becomes a real, actionable task. So cool.
But a great app can't be an island, right? It needs to play nice with the rest of your phone. To feel like it truly belongs on iOS, it has to plug into the ecosystem. And that's exactly what this app does. It syncs perfectly with Apple reminders, you can export your tasks straight to Apple Notes, and it even uses those subtle little vibrations, haptic feedback, to make interactions feel more real and satisfying.
Okay, so we've talked about the speed and the cool tech, but there's a deeper story here. This app wasn't just built to be fast, it was built with a philosophy of inclusive design. Right from the very first line of code, it was designed with neurodivergent users in mind, specifically people with ADHD and dyslexia.
And this wasn't just some vague mission statement. It led to very specific, concrete design rules. For instance, to make it ADHD-friendly, every animation is super quick, between 150 and 350 milliseconds. They give you feedback, but they don't have all those bouncy, springy effects that can be really distracting. It's all about reducing cognitive load, that mental energy you spend just trying to use an app. The whole point is to make it feel calm, focused, and easy.
And check this out. The app also has a special font designed to be dyslexia-friendly. You can see the difference right here. See how the letters on the right have heavier bottoms? That helps to anchor them so they don't feel like they're floating around. The shapes are also more unique, and there's more space between them. These might seem like tiny details, but for someone with dyslexia, this can make a massive difference in how easy and comfortable it is to read.
But let's be real. No matter how good your plan is, development is never a straight line. Reality always has a way of throwing you a curveball, and this project was no exception. So let's talk about the hurdles, the things that went wrong.
I love this quote because it just perfectly sums up one of the weirdest bugs you can imagine. Picture this. You're trying to run some automated tests, and the iOS simulator, well, it just starts spawning clones of itself. Like one after another, an endless army of simulators, until the whole computer just gives up and crashes. Wild, right?
So, how do you fight a simulator army? It sounds complicated, but the solution was actually pretty simple. Just a single command line flag. You add -disable concurrent testing, and the problem goes away. For any devs out there, if you ever see this happen, now you know the magic trick. It'll save you a ton of headache.
And then there was another little gotcha, this time with the new AI tools. The official documentation said there was a way to check if a device was powerful enough to run the AI. The problem? That check didn't actually exist in the code yet, so on older devices, the app would just crash. The fix was to build smarter. Instead of asking for permission, you just try to run the AI. If it works, great. If it fails, you have a backup plan, a simpler, non-AI method. It's such a classic lesson in coding. Always, always have a plan B.
So, after all the planning, the coding, the bug squashing, what did we learn from all this? What's the big takeaway? Well, this whole one-day experiment really gives us a new playbook for how to think about building software today.
And here are the key lessons. First, that detailed plan isn't a straitjacket. It's your accelerator. It's what makes you fast. Second, build and test constantly. It helps you catch those little problems before they blow up into big disasters. Third, always have a non-AI fallback. That way your app works for everybody, not just people with the newest, fanciest phone. And maybe the most important lesson of all, accessibility is not an extra. It's a core feature you build in from day one.
And if you want a hard number to wrap your head around, here it is, 12. 12 brand new, fully working Swift files were created and integrated from scratch in that one session. That's a huge amount of work, and it really shows you what's possible. And that really brings us to the final, powerful point. You just don't need weeks and weeks to build a great app anymore. The game has totally changed. With a clear plan, the right tools, and a little help from AI, you can go from just an idea to a functional app in a matter of hours. It's a complete rewrite of the rules.
So, that leaves us with one last big question to think about. If a single developer can now build a production-ready, AI-powered, and accessible app in just a few hours, what does that mean for the future? What's the next big idea going to be when you can build it over a weekend? The possibilities are just staggering.